Hey, is Jackie there?
Yes, speaking. Hey, Dan.
Hey, Jackie, what's going on?
Oh, I've been better, but I'm happy to hear from you.
You've been better, huh? Now, we were going to talk about something else a few days ago, weren't we, or something?
Yeah,
And now the
I initially wanted,
now the story has changed?
yeah, a little bit. I've been trying to be raw. I guess I'll give you some background. I've been vegetarian for about 6 years, and vegan most of that time. And in the very beginning, I went raw for about a year, but it was the traditional raw thing, high fat. I didn't really reap that many benefits from that diet. I didn't feel that great, and it was really inconvenient, so I stopped.
Which one was inconvenient?
The initial, being raw for 1 year, the high fat raw.
Right.
Like all the fancy recipes and everything, I just didn't have time for it. And then it's been my goal, like I believe in the raw movement, it makes sense to me, and so I wanted to go raw again, and after doing some research on it, I found 80-10-10. So I got Doug Graham's book, I started doing that back in April. Initially on that, I felt really good, and I looked amazing, but after a couple weeks, I guess, I started getting like cystic acne, and I've never had acne in my life. I thought maybe I was just detoxing, and it just got worse and worse and worse, and I am only just now healing from it. I didn't have any overt fats. I cut that out of my diet thinking maybe that was the problem. I was, doing everything that they said. I was having over 3,000 calories a day. I wasn't hungry. I don't know what I was doing wrong. So initially I contacted you wondering what fruit to vegetable ratio I should be eating because I wondered if it was an issue of fat. And then in the meantime, while I was waiting to hear from you, being Christmas and all, I thought, well, I'll go back to cooked food for a while because I think that this 80-10-10 thing is making me sick. I had no energy, very lethargic, couldn't get anything done, no motivation to work out. It was awful. And then eating cooked food, I am now violently ill. I've been projectile vomiting since midnight last night.
Cool. Couple of issues
Yeah.
there for sure. Yeah, you can't. No one can go back from the raw to the cooked. I mean, you can sort of if you know how to do it, but not normal dairy and stuff like that. Can't do it. Especially since you've been doing raw since like April. Very high raw or what?
100% raw.
Like a 80-10-10 style.
Yeah, just 100%, 3 to 4 fruit mono meals a day, and then a huge salad at the end of the day.
Okay, and so how old are you, Jackie?
I'm 26.
26, and what was your diet for the most of the rest of your life?
I've been basically vegetarian since I was born. I never liked meat. I'm a weirdo. But I've really liked dairy my whole life. I only stopped eating dairy and got interested in health when my mom got cancer and was given 3 weeks to live at my age right now. And she finally passed away in 2006. And then after that, I was just like, I don't want that to happen to me. So that's why I got really interested in health.
Okay, and so is your mom still with us, or?
No, she passed in 2006.
At what age?
41.
So she had cancer. She had cancer for like 15 years.
Yeah.
Okay, well you're definitely on the right track. She may have passed some things to you, and the timing sounds about right as far as. Well, let me ask you a question here. You were on dairy most of your life.
Correct.
Okay, and that included cheeses of all kinds, milk.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And then you went raw for about 9 months or so?
Closer to a year, I think.
Okay, closer to a year, but 80-10-10 for like 9 months?
Yeah.
So you were just about at the phase where you began to start to deep cleanse the tissues. And
is that why my acne?
Yeah, you had started to have cellular transference, so that the porous parts of the body began to open up and detoxify. Were you exercising heavily throughout that time?
Yes, very heavily.
Okay, so when you exercise, it takes a little bit longer for the body to cleanse itself. 80-10-10 is good if you understand the rest of the physiology of the human organism and detox. So 80-10-10 is really good for young, healthy people that parents were perfect vegetarian, raw food people. But for us mere mortals, it takes us a while to cleanse the body in order to make 80-10-10 work for us. So personally, what I'm working on right now after all these years is cleansing out the deep tissues in my body. And when you go from a normal diet and then you go right over to 80-10-10, what you're doing is you're painting over rust. Okay? The car is broken down, it's beat up from dairy, it's beat up from cooked foods, it's beat up from drugs, it's beat up from antibiotics, it's beat up from vaccines. And that's why the compassion is far more important than a lot of the issues that come along with the 80-10-10 group. But the diet is fantastic. But what's going to happen is you're going to start loosening stuff up from your kidneys and your lymphatic system, and then it's going to start to come out your skin because you're loosening it up so fast that sometimes the kidneys and the liver are a little overworked, and then it starts coming out the skin, which actually is what you want. So what's happening to you with the skin issue is very common, and you should actually look forward to it and then let that process take place so that you can get that junk out of there. And you thought that the diet was causing the acne, but the acne was a latent waste matter that was now being loosened up by the fruit diet, and the body was trying to eliminate it. And if you would have kept going, and you started to lose energy, which is another indication that you were beginning to move the lymphatic system and the detoxification of the body, so that the toxins were in the kidneys, in the liver, and things were slowed down a bit. So it probably started to throw off toxins through the skin. And so what you got, when you get to that point, you kind of got, it helps to really understand what's going on, because then you can have more faith in the process. People have all kinds of tumors pop out of them, and they go on raw food and their breath actually gets worse. Well, the reason is because now they're peeling away layers that have been buried deeply within the GI tract, and then when they start eating these fresh foods, it starts to peel layers of the onion down in the digestive tract, and all these odors that have been sitting in there, fermenting, rotting, and putrefying, begin to open, the lungs open up, the GI tract starts to clean out, and then the breath gets worse. And then the acne gets worse. The skin looks worse for a while. Sometimes people's hair falls out because the hair is built up on, out of less than the best materials. So now you're trying to, we're totally doing a genetic regeneration of mankind when we do a diet like 80-10-10 raw food. Basically, high fruit, leafy green herbs is the best food for mankind. So if you, next time you go to start going down this road, if you can stick with it, then you're going to be a lot better off. I've gotten to the point where I won't be able to really go further in the cleansing without some water fasting. So I like the water fasting because you know you're detoxing. It's not like you're eating fruit and slowly detoxing. You're like, what's wrong with me? When you're in there at the water fasting, you're just detoxing and you feel like crap, and there's no question what's going on. You're detoxing and it's happening at the deepest levels when you get into ketosis. When you're on an 80-10-10 raw food diet, you only get into a partial ketosis, very slow. So it's kind of good for most people to start to generate lots of cellular energy. But deep down are all those chronic conditions genetically, as well as built up morbid waste matter, which is going to start loosening up, and latent sicknesses, really, that are buried deeply down within from the antibiotics is terrible. You've got the Tylenol, NyQuil that just shoves these coughs, colds, and mucus deeper into the system. So the 80-10-10 diet is really awesome. It's just that you have to understand what's going on physiologically as you go through the changes, and this can take some time because we have degenerated as a race. Does this make any sense?
Absolutely, and it's so comforting, really, because when I would listen to testimonials of people on 80-10-10, like, everybody says, oh, within weeks my skin was clear and I had so much energy, and I just thought, well, if I'm not experiencing this, am I doing it wrong? And then I would talk to other people about it that were on this diet, and it just seems like in that community, the general consensus is, well, if you're not receiving these benefits pretty much immediately, you are doing it wrong.
Yeah, that's
so
unfortunate.
Really now.
It's kind of an amateur situation, I mean, it sounds good on paper and it looks good on paper and it's easy to stay jacked up on fruit sugar, but it can be very challenging to truly regenerate the human organism because it's an art and it takes a lot more knowledge. And you have to understand what's going on with the endocrine system, the blood system, the nerve system. You got to it helps to understand neurological dysfunction, adrenal strength and weaknesses, and also it helps you to understand what your own genetic weaknesses are. What type of cancer did your mother pass away from?
She ended up with two primaries, cervical and colon, but it started out just cervical.
So she had cervical and colon. She ate dairy as well.
Oh, she just ate meat, and she didn't want anything other than meat.
Just meat.
Yeah, it was awful.
She didn't eat any dairy?
She ate some dairy, a lot of refined sugar, like she craved brownies and stuff, and steak. She craved that stuff.
It's and so the colon cancer is obviously from the meat, because you can't eat the matrix of death and have that rotting in your colon and not expect to have cancer cell death. Colon cancer or colon cell death, because the matrix of dead flesh absorbing into the colon walls, it could never be healthy. So the whole meat eating thing still has me scratching my head. The second I found out that meat was dead animal, I was just like, whoa, and never ate it again.
Absolutely.
But then I want to point out to people, while we're on the subject of the cervical, the colon cancer is pretty common with the meat, but the cervical also is a mucus condition. It's excess mucus, and it just backs up into the system, and then wherever that tissue weakness is, it's going. And so with your mom, it was with the cervical. And so if you really want to get rid of any type of female, or for the male, the prostate issues, for the women, it's the cervical issues. But again, it's just a buildup of mucus. And of course, the refined sugar is very mucus forming, and as well as the eggs and the dairy, especially cooked dairy, butter, things like that. Humans are actually frugivores, and there's a lot of nice arguments and things like that, but every enlightened being who thought about these things came to the conclusion through the realization of the truth of their own experience that humans are frugivorous, and they are, anthropoid, closer to the anthropoid type frugivore tropical apes. And people can argue with me about that, but I don't want to argue, debate it. It's obvious that if I was standing next to a monkey, I would look a lot more like the monkey than the horse, or than a pig. So we are actually frugivorous in nature. Our whole GI tract is designed for it, And plus, I mean, I just ate fruit all day yesterday. And I'll tell you right now, today I wake up on a whole new level. Yesterday I was total fruitarian. I lived off of oranges, persimmons, and coconut water with a little bit of E3 Live in it. And I'll tell you, I have a problem. I need a 12-step program to releasing salads. I'm addicted to salads. So there's a lot worse problems, but when you eat a fruit diet and you're relatively clean, then you'll know that that it's definitely the way to go. It's just really a mental game that you have to play, but you're gonna have to. Everyone's gonna have to detox and regenerate, and you got to get excited about this because otherwise you'll never find the motivation to do it. And some of us are more like Jackie. You're probably like me with like a medium constitution. If your mom left this place at 41 years of age, we got some work to do to reverse these genetic weaknesses, and we got to get excited about it. And so you want to continue to educate yourself, Jackie, about everything: the nervous system, the lymphatic system, endocrinology, detoxification, green juice diets, fruit diets, water fasting. Water fasting, if you learn about that, will be huge, because then you'll understand what takes place in the detoxification and regeneration pathway and some of the things you're going to run up against, and it's going to take some hard work. It's worth it.
Do you suggest that I start, since I've just been eating pretty much nothing but crap for a week, do you suggest that I start with a water fast to get all of that out of my system before doing 80-10-10 again?
No, I don't.
Okay.
I would suggest that you come back into it slowly. You're in a place where you could probably go 100% raw, but I wouldn't go into no, you always want to go from cleaner eating, simpler eating, lighter eating, mono meals, juice diets, and then into the water fasting. Just slowly and incrementally train your system to be able to let go of that feeling of needing to be heavy, and learn to live off highly energizing foods, because every cell runs on sugar. But for you, if you're projectile vomiting, you're just going to want to come back into it slowly. And you never want to go back to dairy, for sure. That's the worst of all things to do, is to go back to dairy.
Yeah, it's been like a year since I've had dairy, like more than a year probably, maybe even like close to 2 years, and man, I'm actually kind of happy that I got so sick, because it's incredible incentive to never do this.
Yes. Amen. Okay, so is there anything else, Jackie?
The only other question I have is, and I'm guessing it's like different for everybody, but like with the cystic acne and detox symptoms like that, how long? I had that for about 9 months. How long should I expect that to like stick around?
You had cystic acne?
Just on the 80-10-10.
Okay, so you had it the whole time.
For some like 2 weeks at first, where I looked amazing. Yeah, it got really bad really fast, and as soon as I got off the 80-10-10, it like started cleaning right up.
Exactly. So what did you eat to break the 80-10-10 fast with?
Like cooked vegan food.
Yeah, okay, well then you stop the detox, and for me, like, understanding what I know, I would have kept going through it. As I go deeper and deeper, little weird things come up, but I know what they are, and so I know that I don't stop. I'm not going to stop. But if you stop the cleansing with cooked food, then you just shove the acne deeper down into the tissues. Now you're going to have to deal with that again. But the faster that you deal with this, the best way is to, here's the ideal scenario. You go on a raw, super high raw food, super clean. You go on the 80-10-10 diet for like 6 months, and then you turn yourself in for your first water fast, for 10 days at least, so you can get into full ketosis. 14 days is better. 21 days is kind of an ideal number to where you're not going too far, but at least you're going to at least spend about 10 days in full ketosis, where you're actually breaking down the junk and eliminating it through the kidneys, and the liver, begins to break down the junk and reuse everything else. So you begin to strengthen and rebuild your body through the body's high level consciousness while you're on while you're on a water fast. But when you're on a water fast, you accelerate everything, and you get rid of these latent sicknesses that are coming forth, like the cystic acne. It's just a latent sickness, old toxins buried in the system from childhood onward that's trying to come out. And so the answer to your question is as long as it takes. But if you want to if you want to get rid of it, you do some kind of there's 3 different basic detoxifications, and there's 4 basically. There's the 80-10-10, which is a long-term detox type diet, and then there is like a mono. The next level would be like a green juice or an all juice diet, a liquid diet. That would be like level 3. Level 2 would be like a mono fruit diet of grapes for like 21 days. And you're going to detox some there too. And then the ultimate, of course, is the water fasting. So we all have to learn, and the thing about it, there is no one right answer. I know that there's a lot of people out there that would really like to tell you there's only one way, it's my way, and everyone else is wrong. That's the ego talking. That is not the art of detoxification. Because each individual case, and I can attest to this because I've been helping people for a long time, each individual case is a different situation due to the different weaknesses, strengths, body constitutions, and age group, etc. So everyone kind of has to educate their mind and find out what works for them to fit into their lifestyle. There's some basic principles, but the one thing is that you've got to get your blood pure and get your lymphatic system cleaned out and figure out a way to strengthen your nervous system after a lifetime of, we've been shot up with vaccines, inoculations. We all breathe the air. There's, depleted uranium in the air messing our nervous systems up. And so I think we should stick together and try to support one another. But also we have to learn what's going to work for us, what kind of path we want to go down. In the end, we can build a very high level of health. But I'll wrap it up with this, in that I've been raw, about 98% raw, for about 11 years. And I've had some ups and downs. I did the chocolate, I did the high nuts, I've done all that stuff. So it wasn't the best raw food diet in the world. But after 11 years, I've built a very high level of vibrational energy on the surface of my being. And now I've got a very high level of vitality, a very expanded and open consciousness due to the nature of the food affecting the mind the way that it does. These high energy fruits and vegetables enhance the function of the mind and a clear burning mind for a conscious awareness. But underneath, I have chronic obstructions that are only going to be, I've gotten to the point where I cannot get any deeper until I go in for a water fast. So that's just how I feel at this time. That's what it's been telling me for quite some time. But I tried this, different diets, honeys for 45 days. I did, green juice for 45 days. I've done watermelon fasts and grape fasts and orange juice fasts and coconut water fasts. And until you take out all the sugars and take 7 to 10 days to get into full ketosis, once you're in ketosis, your body starts breaking down the old junk and the liver reuses what it can and eliminates what it cannot use. This process is not that comfortable or easy, but it's better to prepare with the high fruit, green juice type diet, get the cells energized and flushed, and get the fluids flushed, and get the alkalinity going, and then someday we're going to have to bring water fasting back alive to this world. But anyway, so we got to dig deeper. It's going to be a lot of hard work to reverse this stuff, but it's a hobby, and it's fun, and it's the regeneration of the human race. So, Jackie, you sound like you want to be a regenerator of the human race. I want to regenerate myself. I want to help as many people as I can to understand that we can turn this thing around, but we better do it now, because there's 8-year-olds with cancer, there's 3-year-olds with diabetes, and it's crazy. And it's nuts. So let's be responsible and do the hard work and make it our hobby and clean out our bodies, because we didn't know any better. They shot us up with drugs. Our mom gave us NyQuil. They shoved it deeper and deeper and deeper. We smoked drugs. We drank alcohol. We got addicted to coffee. We got addicted to sugar. Blah, blah, blah. Okay, but now we can take responsibility and turn this thing around and regenerate our brains, our hearts, our kidneys, our liver, our pancreas, our bloodstream, our lymphatic system. We can balance out our nervous system, and we can be completely regenerated, whole, highly vital, dynamic human beings. But it isn't going to be like a little simple thing now. So everybody's going to be a little bit different. But we just got to be dedicated to, obviously, the raw food way, detoxification, periodic, of different types, and then some type of water fasting program if you really want to complete, and also some kind of spiritual strength to give you the motivation to become the best human being that you can be. So this ended up being a pretty good video for me. I kind of wanted to touch on some of these things with people, Jackie, so I appreciate you being willing to share today.
Well, thanks so much for the encouragement and being an inspiration as always. So,
Jackie, have you?
I'll let you know how it goes.
Okay, be in touch. Let me know how it goes. And also, have you had a colonic?
No, that terrifies me.
What's that?
That is terrifying. No.
Okay, a lot of people are terrified of the colonics, and that's too bad, because that'll help you to get rid of the acne a lot faster.
Totally worth it then.
Yeah, because it's not uncomfortable. The ladies shoved a lot of things up people's behinds. She doesn't make you uncomfortable. It's very simple. It's very easy. And it's one of the ways that you can have clean, healthy skin, a clear mind. Colonics help get rid of headaches. Colonics help open up the lymphatic system and remove a lot of junk and pressure. Colonics are good for people that have heart problems. I mean, the list goes on and on. The colon is the hub, and that's where a lot of junk is being reabsorbed. And if people stuck a hose up their butt, turned the water on, and cleaned that junk out of there, they'd be a lot better off for it. And you could get rid of a lot of migraine headaches that way. So everybody, I want to encourage you to get over your fear, because the lady's done it all, and she's going to make you feel comfortable. I've had many colonics. They're very comfortable, and they are extremely helpful, and will help you move along this process. In fact, it'll move along that cystic acne problem so much faster, 5 times faster, than if you just...
Oh, I'm there. I'm doing it.
Just do it. It's so easy. It's so effortless. And people can say it's unnatural, but the thing is that it is unnatural, but so is cooked dairy products. So is human beings eating all this crazy, weird stuff. And so is NyQuil, and so is dairy products, and so is vaccinations, and the air we breathe. So one unnatural thing, but we got to be smart and use all the tools at our disposal. So there's so many things to go into, but I'll continue to make these videos, and hopefully this one inspired everyone. Thank you so much, Jackie.
Thanks so much, Dan.
Stay in touch with me, please. I want to know how this thing goes.
I will.
I hope I helped.
You did. Thanks so much.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Okay, well, thank you very much, my friends. I am glad to share. So subscribe to these videos, and I hope you learned something yourself. I sure did. I'm motivated. I'm inspired. I'm going to stay on point. I'm going to drink my juices, and I'm going to eat fruit. I think that the best diet for human beings, the best, most high-energy diet, I think, is whole, tree-ripened, organic fruits, ripe with their sugars intact, and leafy green herbal vegetable juice tonics. Can you dig it? Okay, so juice it up and eat up those fruits, get a lot of rest, drink a lot of water, and just really keep taking care of yourself. Try to eliminate stress and fear and worry as much as you can. Don't worry about what other people are doing. Don't try to convince anyone. Don't let anybody put you down. Just be crazy and do your thing, because the regeneration of mankind depends on you regenerating yourself. Thank you. Have a great day. Peace.